here with Eric Cippola today. I am so excited for him to share his story with you. I don't know if you're like me, but you don't hear a whole lot about eBay anymore. You hear a lot about Amazon, but eBay is just kind of in the background. So I'm super excited to introduce you to Eric. He made 6 figures doing eBay last year. eBay is not dead. So without further ado, I want to turn the time over to Eric. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Eric Cippola, as you said, and I'm actually 20 years old. And big news, actually, I was a full-time student, but in the past week, I made the decision to drop out of school to pursue business full-time. So now I'm doing eBay full-time, and I will be expanding into Amazon and to other e-commerce platforms to be able to expand my business. And I'm also going to take copywriting to the next level as well, because I've found a passion for that myself.
That is super crazy. Okay, so 20 is like, that's when most kids are like trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. And it's like this weird, oh, I'm a grown-up. So how the heck did you get started with eBay? Because that's like, I mean, most kids aren't even thinking, I mean, that's amazing. How did you get there?
So it started with my entrepreneurial journey back in the day. So I started in a network marketing company back with my dad when I was 12 years old, and I had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. It was a brand new world of online marketing, all that good stuff. And so we learned a lot. We lost a lot of money, this, that, and the other. But this concept of drop shipping was always tossed around every now and then. And so, I listened to some people who did it for a while. I had a lot of success, and I tried it and I failed. And then, when was it? I'd say summer of 2016, I was working with my dad. He's a general contractor, and I made some money and decided to get this dropshipping course and give it a shot one more time. And, I didn't make money with it, broke even for like basically 6 months. But then friends of mine introduced me to my current mentor, and I got started with him April of last year and made money my first month, then doubled my profits. And, it's been scaling ever since. And I'm actually going to go live with him for the next couple months in Nicaragua in February. So that'll be a lot of fun.
That is so super cool. So how do you recommend going about finding a mentor? Because I think sometimes that's part of the battle too. Man, like you got lucky right off the bat because, you hear horror stories, of how do you find a mentor and whatever. How did you happen to find yours?
So it was actually recommended to me. What I would say is, like people say your network is your net worth, but truly it is. And so I found like just friends of mine are all entrepreneurs my age, and they do different types of business. Some write email copies, some do, Shopify dropshipping, that kind of stuff. But they said, hey, Eric, you do eBay. Check out this guy. He does eBay dropshipping, and he's pretty good at it. And so I did and took it from there. So honestly, relying on a strong foundation from your network is, at least in my experience, how I did that.
I will admit I do not know a lot about drop shipping, but one of the things that I think you start to get into kind of some of the stuff, and it's like drop shipping or eBay, or I could go into Amazon, and it starts to be that question of, holy cow, where do I start? What do I offer? What do I do? Do you do a variety of different products, or are you just...
So it basically comes down to going off the competitors. So I have no set items that I sell. I have no set, things I'm looking for. I'm essentially what I do whenever it's either Amazon or eBay. The way that I do dropshipping now is basically seeing what stuff is already sold by looking at my competition and finding other dropshippers on the platforms, and then looking what items they've sold, seeing, what their margins are like and everything. And if I can compete with their price, I will then piggyback off of them and start selling the items that they're sold, because they're at that point hot items.
Oh, that's an awesome idea. So you are never guessing about anything. You know exactly what your margins are and everything. So you research your market, you figure out there's a demand and a need, which is almost like looking at the trends, which is kind of cool because you want to be in front of those trends. So then the next part of the battle is, where the heck do you go get your drop ship? I'm going to guess that you're the middleman, although I could be wrong there.
Yep.
So by middleman, you can even explain what it is for people that don't know. But then how do you go about finding, so you know what you want to sell, you know it can sell. How do you find your I don't know that distributor is the right word, but how do you find your source to go get the product?
Sure. So as you're saying, yes, I'm a middleman. A middleman basically is I'm connecting a supplier to a customer, and I make that connection. Therefore, I'm the person in the middle, the middleman. And so, to answer your question, I essentially do like on eBay. If I find a drop shipper, I'll take a look at their items, and if I'm not using the software that I use, I have a software that does this all for me. But if I'm doing this manually, I'll go into the items they're selling currently on their store because you can see that. You click on their name and say view items for sale, and then you can look at all the items they're selling. And I look for specifically items that have sold 4 times in the past month because that tells me it's a hot item. Some people say 3, some people say 4. Anything more than that, it's a hot item. And then from there, what I'll do is I'll either do a reverse image search or I will take a look at the description of the item and copy a little bit of the description. And once I Google search that, the vendors will pop up. And my big couple are Amazon, when I'm drop shipping onto eBay, Walmart, and Target. Those are my big ones now. When I find them on Google, I'll then go to the vendor's link, whether it be Walmart or whatever, see what their price is. I'll throw my competitor's price and the supplier's price into the calculator that I have. That okay, eBay takes their 10%, PayPal takes 2.9, and I'll see what margin is there. If I can drop the price by $1, I'll list it myself on my own store.
So you actually run a store through eBay then?
Yes.
Okay. And then that actually kind of leads into my next question. Because I see a lot of different strategies on eBay, because some of them we're going to run it as an auction. Some of it is, a free plus shipping, or not a free plus shipping, but, buy it and then the shipping's free. Swap that, reverse that. Or, sometimes it's just a flat out, here's the price. Do you vary how you do that? Or do you have like this, because I know there's a science to this.
Yeah, I look for my margin with my items that I offer free shipping. That's always how I do it. I never do auctions, never do anything else. It's just that kind of method.
Okay. Do you do international, or do you pick like a target? No. So it's strictly, I'm going to guess states. I think your states, right?
It's the 48 mainland states. I
Okay.
don't ship to Hawaii, I don't ship to Alaska, and then also no military addresses.
Okay. Just to make it easy for you. And
Correct. Yeah.
so you already have, everything's mapped out, ready to go, which is crazy cool. So I got to know, because I know that you act as the middleman. And I know that you mentioned yesterday that this is like the easiest, fastest way to make money. And correct me if I'm wrong, because to me, I'm going, that doesn't sound that easy. But I'm sure that you get down, you've got this mentor, you know how to do it. As far as being the middleman, how much risk is involved? Because you're just strictly connecting buyers and sellers, correct?
Right. Yes. So there really isn't much risk. Now, I do have to say that when you're starting as a brand new seller with a brand new PayPal and a brand new eBay account, you're going to have new seller limits. So you're going to have 3 qualifications. You got to have 90 days on the platform, 25 sales, and $1,000 in sales. Once you hit those 3, you are able to then get your money immediately. Until that point, you have to either wait 3 days after confirmed delivery or 21 days from the item's sell date to be able to access your funds. But essentially, once you're past that point, you're essentially just taking your customer's money and turning around and buying the item with their money and making the difference.
That is so cool. So you don't ever actually purchase anything until you know it's sold.
Right, exactly.
So can I ask another question? How big, because I know sometimes you look at the items on there and you're like, I could do it, but I'm making like 50 cents. Is it worth it? What kind of margins do you usually look at when you go to decide if it's worth being the middleman?
So there's different mentors out there in the eBay dropshipping community. Some say, go for the higher margins. Some do like bulk drop shipping. Like I know a guy named Tyler. He's sold 8 figures, almost 8, no, 7, almost 8 on eBay, which is insane. But his margins are tiny, like 1-2%. He makes a lot on the back end, but still up front, he makes that much. I shoot for around 10 to 12% on upfront, and then I use cashback sites and everything else to get another 3 to 5 to 10%, depending on there's different promotions, cashback on the back end. Plus, there's also cashback credit cards and things of that nature that you can use to be able to boost your margins on the back end as well.
how do you deal with, because every once in a while you'll hear about the grumpy person that no matter how awesome your service is, no matter how much you over deliver, they're still complaining. Um, how do you deal with stuff like that? Or do you have to deal with that because you're the middleman?
So yes, because I have the eBay store, there is customer service involved, and I'm just gonna be frank here. Customer service is my least favorite thing on the planet. I hate it so much, but it does happen, and it is part of the business. So, I have certain scripts that I go off of, like thank you messages and things like that. So I'll send that when they buy and I fulfill the order. And if they have any issues, they'll usually message me first, or sometimes they'll be rude and they won't. And they'll either go to eBay with a complaint, or they'll message me saying, hey, I want to return this item. And the return process is easy, just getting a label from your supplier and sending that over to them. And if it's buyer's remorse, I can charge them for return shipping. So even if the item gets returned, the transaction's canceled, I'm still making my money anyway, because I'm only refunding them like 85% of their money, because I'm taking the cost of the return label out of their refund. So that stuff's pretty simple. But, as long as you are a good seller on eBay, meaning you communicate with your buyer, you get your tracking numbers on time, that kind of stuff, there is seller protection in place both on eBay and on PayPal. So to a certain extent, you are covered as much as the buyer is.
So that's literally you're out nothing.
Yeah.
So do you have, because I know some of the people I've talked to have these huge, crazy big teams that are working for them. Do you have a big team that helps you do all this, or is it basically just you?
Right now, it's just me. I have been talking to a couple VAs, looking to hire them for listing purposes, because the name of the game on eBay is listing. And you want to try to get at least 10 to 20 items up per day on your store. And the more momentum you have on that, the more sales you get, which 10 to 20 sounds like a lot, but once you get the listing process down, you can get into a flow. It's not much. But having the VAs there to do it for you is a lot better. I want to eventually have a team of 3 to 5 VAs, 1 to 2 listers, another person for customer service, and another person for order fulfillment. And that way, I'm not working in the business, I'm working on the business. And so it becomes much more of a scaling process than it is actually in the trenches grinding every day.
That totally makes sense. So do you, when you say 10 to 20 listings, are you, when you put up items, do you put it like, I know some sellers will say like 5 left or 4 left or whatever. Do you do it that way, or do you itemize each listing as its own listing, so to speak?
So each one is individual. It's not like Amazon where you're piggybacking. So if you search a keyword or you search a specific product, you're going to find 20 to 30 people, individual listings selling the same product, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And so the way I be competitive is it's based off your being able to rank in a search. And there's a couple of factors that go into that. Your selling history. So the more sales you have, the higher you're going to automatically be on your items in the search results. How often, how recently that specific item is sold for you, and then your price. So it's those couple factors. But, when I list my items, my default quantity is 2, and I just keep an eye on that because, I've been trying to go without software as much as I can, other than listing. I have software to list for me and do product research, but when it comes to order fulfillment and uploading tracking numbers, all that stuff, I do that by hand.
Are there ways that you can ensure that yours is seen first, or is that purely done by you want to be the lowest price, or?
So you don't have to be the lowest. What I would say is you're just trying to beat the price of the person who has sold it 4 times in the past month, because to that seller, they have a hot item to that seller. So if you could beat their price specifically, you're in a good spot.
Now, do you do the advertising and stuff? Because I think that there's a way to do advertising on eBay, correct?
So there are sponsored listings, but there is no like advertising on eBay. So when you sponsor a listing, essentially what that means is you're going to find your listing be popping up across eBay, including on the eBay homepage before somebody even searches for anything. So you're going to get eyeballs on that listing, no matter if you're like actively selling it or not, which is really kind of nice. That being said, it comes out of your final value fee for your item. So you're not actually paying, you've got pay per click or anything, or even pay per view. So when you set up a campaign, you're going to set your ad rate. So let's say I set it to 6%. So whatever this item sells for, you're going to pay 6% of that item's price to cover the fee for that sale. It's like pay per sale pretty much. And that's how that works. So you're not paying anything out of pocket. You just have to factor it into your profit margin when you're setting it up to be able to, still sponsor your listings, but make good margin even though you're still sponsoring them.
I got to be honest, for being a 20-year-old kid, again, this is dating me because I have an almost 20-year-old. Holy crap. But you're one smart kid, because I hear about a lot of people that want to start a business, and you got to get funding, and all of a sudden you've got all these business partners and you've got to make this certain quota and you've got to pay for your business space. You're really, I mean, you're about as low risk as you could ever possibly be in terms of low risk. That's crazy cool. So I can't remember. I think I asked something similar to this, but I think it was slightly different. So I'm just curious, when you go to find that the person that's going to be your seller, so to speak, how do you know if they're reputable? I mean, is there a way you can tell? Because I know it's so easy to fake stuff now, with the internet or different things. How do you ensure? Has that been purely trial and error?
So that's actually a cool thing. You don't have to worry about the other sellers' reputations. You're just worried about their items. So all you're looking for, let's say this is how I originally got started finding drop shippers. I'll tell you the exact process. So I went on eBay, I searched men's mountain bike. And basically all I did is I went listing by listing and did the reverse image searches and the Google searches or the descriptions. And if I saw that their price on eBay was higher than the price on, let's say, Walmart, I know they're a dropshipper for a fact. And with that information, I will take them into the software that I use. It's called DS Genie, and it's made by the same mentor who taught me how to do this method. The method is called sniping. Essentially, you would then take them into the software, and the software, what it does is it scrapes all of their listings. And what it does is it finds all the ones that have sold 4 times in the past month. You could filter it to 3, 4, or 5 times, whatever you want it to be, and then the dollar amount. So I usually do 4 times in the past month for at least $50 because I like to make at least that much. And plus Walmart, their program only has free shipping on orders over $35. So it's that kind of thing. That being said, then it'll give you a list of all these sellers to all their items. And then you just go item by item and see if you can then list it on your store. So you're not really worried about feedback on these other people's stores. I generally only look at drop shippers who are under 10,000 feedback, because after that, it's kind of like, okay, you can pretty much assume they're a wholesaler or something like that, because very few drop shippers have over 10,000 feedback that are actually ones worth competing with. That's just a general rule of thumb. It does not. There's obviously exceptions, but and that's generally the process. There is finding other drop shippers, and what's cool is if you can't find margin off of a certain drop shipper's items, what you can do is just take all their listings and do. In this software, there's a feature called Get Sellers from Title. So what it'll do, it'll take a title of the item, and item is drop shipped and it has a bunch of keywords that aren't the name of the brand of the item itself. So instead of calling it like, I don't know, Mainstays folding table, it'll say table, folding, kitchen, dining room, something like that. It'll a long string of keywords. And then it's basically just them trying to rank on the eBay search results. You could take that title, put it into eBay, and all those sellers, since it has that drop ship title, they're all drop shippers. So then you could search them, take their items, and rinse and repeat. And so it's like a spider. You find more items and more sellers as you get deeper.
But do you find that other people that are doing drop shipping, do they get mad at you, or is it more supportive, or is it like, hey, Betty, can you help me out here? Or is it kind of a mixture of everything?
It's a mixture, that it comes with anything. But I feel like drop shippers aren't going to give away their secrets or their secrets. With eBay, there's really not much to hide. It's straightforward because everything's there for you to see. When it comes to maybe Shopify running Facebook ads, there might be some trade secrets there to hide. But I'd say to an extent, it is pretty supportive. Everybody has each other's back, pulling each other, especially in the community that I'm in. It's really nice to have that support. I mean, everybody's pushing each other to keep going, to keep listing, all that kind of good stuff. But there has been some drama in the community lately, and it's kind of annoying to see. It's like a bunch of high schoolers, and it's kind of annoying. But people will do their own thing, so it is what it is. You just got to keep moving.
Gotcha. So can I ask you, because you make it sound so easy, and it's really easy to look at you and go, "Oh my gosh, this 20-year-old can do it. I'm totally in." How much, realistically, how much time per day do you spend researching and posting and doing everything that you need to do, because this is a business.
So I'm not going to try to exaggerate or anything, but when I first started last year, especially over the summer when I didn't have school or whatever, I was off for the semester. I was putting in 5, 6, 7 hour days. And that was because I was just trying to grind to get everything up. Now that everything is pretty smooth and I'm in the process of hiring VAs and getting hands off, an hour a day. Because also too, with that, I've optimized everything. So where it would take me 5 hours to do a certain amount of work, I can do that amount of work in an hour now because, I've just gotten better at it and gotten faster. And, it comes with experience. And I'm not going to say that, it's a get rich quick thing, because it's not. You have to put the time in. But if you can up front, and most of your work's going to be up front, they say it's the 80-20 principle. So as long as that 20% is going to be pretty much your listing consistently. If you can do that, and you can put your time in doing that and putting up quality listings that that are going to sell, you're going to be just fine. And all you got to do is just not get discouraged if you don't get sales right away. I know I did get sales immediately because I followed the method, but there's no guarantees. So you just have to be willing to be consistent.
You threw out 5, 6, 7 hours a day. That's less than people spend going to a job that they hate, not making the money that they want. And for the trade-off a year later to be spending like an hour a day because you've got the system so ingrained, I mean, that's incredible. That is so crazy cool. So do you mentor people?
I have been starting taking on students, yes.
Okay. So where do people go if, or are you even accepting students? Where do people go if they want to work with you?
So I'm not currently accepting students right now. I have a couple people that I'm taking under my wing and working with one-on-one. And the reason why I'm not accepting right now is because my mentor actually just offered me to be a trainer for his inner circle. So I'm going to be training for his group and everything like that. So I'm not going to honestly have time to be doing a lot of one-on-one, but you can find me on Facebook and, shoot me a message. And once I get that under control and have that going pretty well, and I open up spots, I'll be more than happy to take people on and mentor them, that
That is fantastic. Spell your last name for everybody.
kind of thing. ERIC and then CIPOLLA.
I know that people sometimes are so worried about spending, thank you very much, about spending money to get started.
Mm-hmm.
No, spend that little bit up front, because it's going to, save you so much on the back end, and you're going to get started so much faster. So if you had, I mean, I look at you and I think, holy cow, 1 year. I mean, that's amazing. And now you're going up to Nicaragua. You're living this dream. I bet your parents are just, oh, are they so excited? But you're like, maybe. Are they doing it with you now too?
I'm going to get my family started with, probably Amazon drop shipping because, they have more capital, just sheer capital behind them. And the reason being because Amazon, when you drop ship there, they hold your funds for 2 weeks to a month. Whereas eBay, you can get it, again, as an established seller, you get it instantly. So that being said, I would get them started there because it obviously Amazon gets 350 million visitors a day. The traffic there is just insane. So, there's a lot more room to make a lot more money. But again, if you don't have the capital up front, it's harder to do. That being said, my family is supporting my decision. They don't necessarily agree with me, dropping out of school and everything like that, but they're supporting me. They're in my corner, which I love. And I'm so grateful for, because I know a lot of families would not be in the same position. They'd say, no, don't drop out. You have to stay in school. But, I'm hoping that everything works out and that, coming back from my trip it'll be a great time to be able to travel and do all that kind of good stuff once I return from my hiatus from America.
So you actually brought up another point too. I hear it said all the time that being an entrepreneur is so lonely, and you did get lucky because you have this really awesome mentor. What did and I'm guessing you didn't did you have the mentor from day one, or did you kind of figure it out for yourself and then
So yes and no. Yes, in the sense that he has a YouTube channel, and I learned how to do all this for free from his YouTube channel, and I binge watched so many videos, and then just got started. And then first couple months did everything myself, and then reached out to him saying, "Hey, I implemented what was on your YouTube channel, had success." And then back in October, so I was working April to October by myself, and then in October he opened up the coaching program that he's doing now with the Inner Circle Group, and so I was one of the first to jump into that. Got the one-on-one mentorship, and then that's how I got invited to come down to Nicaragua, be a trainer, all that stuff. And it came from just communicating and having success at first, and then having now the mentorship, which is awesome.
you don't have to throw this out, but are you willing to share who that is or where they can go on
Sure.
YouTube to find this?
So Mark Augustine, his YouTube channel is called No BS Dropshipping. And I know that his 2019 plan here is to go heavy with Amazon. The one thing you're going to realize with Mark is that he has no filter. He has no time for games, no time, obviously no BS. He's going to be real with you. And he might seem abrasive and he might come off as harsh, but that's because he's just being real. And I love that so many people try to sugarcoat everything and just try to sell you on their course. He doesn't have a course. He has a free 1-hour course on eBay dropshipping, and he's going to have a free Amazon course. He doesn't want to sell you anything. He just wants to teach you how to make money. And if you don't take it and use it, that's on you, because he's giving you all the information right there. And that's what I love about him, that he's just so raw and so real. And it's rare in today's day and age, I think.
I got to be honest. I have not known you for very long. Okay, let's be honest. I didn't meet you until we started this, and
Right.
I think that you have the same exact qualities that he does. You sat down, and I'm not gonna even pretend like I understand how to do this yet. But from the information that you gave us today, we can all go out now and start drop shipping using eBay. Now, I'm not gonna even pretend like I'm gonna make 6 figures this month or maybe even this year.
Right.
I should dive into it because that's like everything else. But I'm finding that these entrepreneurs that are really making it these days are doing exactly what you're doing and exactly what your mentor did. There's kind of almost this feeling, or it seems like there has been, of I'm not going to tell you my secret, because if I tell you my secret, you don't need me, or it doesn't work for me anymore. Or have you found that to be the case?
You know, in a way, yeah, because people just, I don't want to say they're selfish, but they only want to teach people the basics. And so when it comes to the nitty gritty stuff, the stuff that's actually going to matter, like they're more tending to hold on to that information for whatever reason, whether it be selfishness or they don't want to teach it. I don't know, but I just try to be as transparent as I can be, because I learned from a transparent person, so there's nothing to hide. And like I said, especially with eBay, it comes back to the fundamentals. And people say, "Oh, how do I increase sales?" Or like just a bunch of these small questions, and it's just like it comes back to the fundamentals. Are you listing every day? Are you on the back end? Are you fulfilling all your orders on time? Are you getting your tracking numbers in? Are you having good customer service? If you have those fundamentals in place, you're going to be fine. And I don't know, there's just a culture online where it's all about the magic pill or the one secret to success, but there is no secret. There is no magic pill. People need to realize that. And sure, it looks good on a sales page, and sure, like I'm learning copywriting, it's going to sell well, but that's not what gets results, because it doesn't exist. Sorry, but it just doesn't. So that's truly the core thing there, is consistency with the fundamentals. And that's going to go for any business. Like if you're an email marketer, are you emailing every day? If you're an affiliate marketer, are you like running traffic consistently? All those things. Are you doing the money making activities consistently? And that's what it comes down to.
Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. That needs to be hung up on a wall somewhere. You put that so eloquently too. If you, now I know you said you started out with not a ton of support because your parents didn't really understand what you were doing, and they maybe still don't quite understand what you're doing. Um, how did you combat that? Were there days that you wanted to quit, or were you seeing enough success that it didn't matter?
Absolutely. There were days I wanted to quit. I had 2 PayPal accounts shut down and I had all sorts of eBay issues. I'm dealing with a second eBay account now and it's been a wild ride. And, I wouldn't say that I didn't have support at first. There were, again, like you said, people that didn't know what was happening or what I was doing. So in a sense, it was just relying on myself and my will to keep going. But yes, there were certainly days where it was just like, well, this is really hard. I don't want to do this anymore, but I had to push through and I'm thankful that I did.
That's really neat. Um, any last word of advice or something? Like I said, I don't know anything about drop shipping, or I didn't. Holy cow. Um, what advice would you give to maybe somebody starting out, or somebody that's thinking maybe this is what they want to do?
I would definitely say get enough knowledge, whether that be through a course or like I said, the YouTube channel or talking to me even. Get enough knowledge that you can take out and take action and start taking action, because one of my other mentors likes to say, imperfect action is better than no action at all. So just start doing something and make mistakes, because you're guaranteed to make mistakes. So make those mistakes, learn from them, and always be improving. So just don't be afraid. Don't suffer from analysis by paralysis. Don't get stuck on something. Ask the questions you need to actually start taking action, but then actually do it, because until you do, you're not going to be making money and you're just going to be in the same place you always were. So it's the action that separates the people who are actually starting to grow and have success from nothing from the ones that are just on the sideline watching. And that's huge. So just take your imperfect action every day, get better. It's called the art of Kaizen, I like to call it, the art of small chunking. Get a little bit better every single day. And it's going to start adding up pretty quickly.
Again, this is Eric Cippola, and I'm so grateful for your time today. It was so exciting to learn about drop shipping. This is another one that's low risk, minus that you're going to have maybe bumps along the road with eBay, and that's a subject for another day. How the heck do you deal with that? But I just want to say thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I know your time is valuable, and that was really neat of you to be willing to share it with us. Because you recognize that it's not going to diminish who you are. And I do appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for your time.
Of course. You having me on for sure.
Mark in sales now, he's doing almost 300,000 a month in sales, which is absolutely insane. The top 3 guys in our group, they're all doing, we just broke 100K in sales a month, which is insane. So it definitely does add up really quickly, but you, again, have to be consistent, have to have the teams in place, especially when you get that amount of sales. You're making like 100 sales a day at that point, which is a lot of orders, and you got to have teams to be able to do that. I know my buddy Jay, he's one of those guys, and he was staying up to throughout Q4, so that the month of December, staying up to like 4 or 5 in the morning, basically getting 2 hours of sleep a night, just fulfilling orders, which is wild.
Which is where you want a good VA.
Right, exactly. And good VAs are hard to come by.
And I'm guessing they're expensive, or you have to train them. And
you do have to train them a little bit, but generally when we go on Upwork, we're trying to pay like $3-4 an hour, so it's not so bad.
No, that's not so bad, but you just got to be careful who you choose.
Right, exactly.
I'm guessing when you transition over to Amazon, is it the same principle, just on a totally different scale, or does Amazon run totally different?
So Amazon is slightly different, but not very. So instead of taking like eBay, PayPal, their fees, Amazon is just a flat 15% fee. So that's a different way to calculate your margins. But then it's piggybacking off of listings. And essentially a good place to start would be looking at brand exclusives. So Walmart has brands that Amazon doesn't have, like it's called Mainstays. It's like their furniture brand. It's Walmart exclusive. And so people will sell that on Amazon, but just drop ship it. And, it's tough because there might be 30, 40 people on that listing, but some people are too cheap. What's nice about Amazon is that you don't have to be the cheapest person. you can actually be one of the more expensive ones. You'll make sales just less often. Obviously, the cheaper you are, the more sales you make for any given item. And it goes off a sales rank. And what's nice, there's tools that you can use in Chrome extensions to find what sales rank are for each item, which is nice to have. And so, yeah, it's like you basically set your own price. And the name of the game on Amazon is listings. But whereas, Mark on his account, his first man account, he has 3. He has just over 1,000 listings, and it's doing like 150K a month on 1,000 listings. Amazon, you're going to need 4,000 or 5,000 listings to be like super successful. Not saying that you can't make money with less, but these huge stores doing several $100,000 a month in sales have thousands of listings. And obviously they have teams of VAs doing that. I know a friend of mine who has a done-for-you Amazon service. So essentially, they'll build your account from scratch. They'll put all your products up. They'll do order fulfillment, all that stuff. He has like 300-400 full-time employees, which is insane.
So down the road, is that something you want to do, or do you like what you're doing?
That is down the road. Right now, I love what I'm doing with eBay. I do want to take copywriting more seriously. Just writing long-form sales letters for other people, and that's something I've gotten a passion for lately. And so I want to be able to put time into that. And so if I can automate my eBay business, I can automate Amazon. That'll free me up to be able to focus on copy, more often, especially now that I have all this free time because I'm not in school anymore. That's also helpful. But, as far as automating on that scale where I have a done-for-you service, I don't know yet. That'd be down the road for sure.
As you learn these skills, because I know people are always afraid, well, what if eBay disappears, or what if Amazon disappears, or, which I got to be honest, I don't see Amazon
They're not going anywhere
anytime soon. These systems, they're just going to translate to wherever you go. I mean, I'm betting you could probably go in Facebook Marketplace if you wanted to, or you could do all these different, sky's the limit when you learn the foundation and the skill. Am I right?
Generally speaking, like being a middleman, whether it's for products like drop shipping, there's like middlemen for services. So there's whole business models where people will go on like Fiverr or micro jobs, and then they'll put like an agency website up, and they'll say, okay, we'll manage your Facebook campaigns for you, and they'll charge like $97 a month, but they'll turn around and then go to Fiverr and pay like $5-10 to have it done. So it exists regardless, and there's always going to be that. You just got to be resourceful on the marketplace you're doing on, and the actual service or products you're delivering. You have to make sure they're quality. So if you can get those resources in place, the model is never going to go away.
For the record, I can see where your parents want you to stay in school, but also being a mom with kids, it's like I keep hearing all these people, and I keep seeing all these people that graduate school. They wish they could get a job making what you're making,
Yeah.
and working for themselves. And heck, an hour a day.
Yeah.
I think you might have sold me.
Yeah.